And welcome to Rick Snider's Washington. Live chats on Mondays, 8 to 9 Eastern. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. All right. So that's for the algorithm while anybody comes in the room. If you're watching on replay, thanks. About half of you watch on replay anyway. And only 10 days out from the draft. So we'll be able to talk about it. Hey, Todd, there you go. You beat Steven. Of course, I'm 2 minutes early. But they said, I've had good luck with viewers lately. One of the guys came by, Tom, and tilled my garden for me today and saved me about a week of back-breaking work. So you guys, it's not always about money. It's what else can you do for Rick? I like that. There's Steve. It's already here. Mike. Oh, there's my cousin Mike. You must be bored. You're back. Back right away. And who else is here? I feel like romper room. All right. So we're kind of a quiet week this week. Here we go. So kind of a quiet week. What I think goes on this week with the Washington Commanders is they will finalize their board, although probably not till next Sunday. Well, that's Easter. So maybe Monday. I don't know. They'll probably work Easter, but who knows? And everybody, in the meantime, this week, they're going to be trying to figure out scenarios to move up to grab somebody. And if they figure out they can't do it, maybe they move down. I don't think they stay at 29. But they move down, they could get a little bit more, picks. So I could see that happening. Todd, let's see. Steve's here. Steve, you're here. Okay, so Thomas is here. I was just talking about Thomas doing me a great favor today. So if you want to say nice things to Thomas, I appreciate it. It takes me usually forever to till. I'm getting too old to till big gardens, and man, that dude wiped it out in 5 minutes with the right equipment. You need the right equipment in life. All right, Thomas, chances of trading back. I'd say more likely than trading up on there. I could see him maybe just not doing a first round pick this year to get more picks overall. I could see that. But we'll see what's on the board at 29. Man, that's going to be late into the evening. If they can get a DN, go for it. I could see a receiver. I could see a corner. Adam Peters kind of takes what's on best value on the board there. So he's not going to force it because that's the worst thing you can do. Mike Peace, is good to have friends with resources. Yeah, it's like having family. I have a rich cousin, Mike. I don't know if this is him or not. So, all right. So, other than that, it's just kind of a quieter week out there. Nothing special. I've got a video tomorrow morning out there about, I was digging up dandelions, and there's a great story I love to tell about the old days in the 70s when George Allen, let me straighten this out. George Allen would be at the park. And back then, Redskin Park, was brand new. Redskins had the first daily training facility dedicated to the team in the NFL. Believe it or not. They used to practice in the park sometimes in Georgetown and all. So they never, they had training camp way out west. So finally, in the early 70s, they created Redskin Park. Man, even Nixon came to see it. But the ball fields, and I remember this, ball fields had dandelions on them, even in the 80s. Today the ball fields are as near perfect as you can hope for, although they kind of wear them down. But they even added a fourth one. The old park, I don't know what Allen had, but I know the old park had 2 fields, and it had a track that ran around it. One day, George Allen said to the players, listen, man, all these dandelions, if each player would just grab 1 or 2 dandelions when you walk off the field of the locker room, that'd be great. Then we can all work on the field together. Sonny looks at Billy and I was like, screw that. I don't think anybody picked up any dandelions except maybe George Allen. So can you imagine ball players being asked, hey, can you pick up some of that? Today, there's no dandelions or anything on the field. It's kind of weird, though. About 5 years ago, the Redskins then, or Commanders, wherever now, had to dig up a couple fields because they were contaminated with some virus that came through. Now we're kind of in the middle of nothing, surrounded by woods and all. You think, what kind of virus came through this place that caught the grass and was killing it? One of the airplanes overhead let something loose. I don't know. It was really strange how that works. But then I had some trees I lost to some ash borer or whatever came into the area, and I lost a couple of trees. So things happen. I remember when we had the cicadas. They were all around, or cicadas, whatever you call. And one day we were there at practice. These things are flying everywhere. They're annoying as all. And one day I felt like something. My phone was buzzing in my pocket, but it wasn't there. It was one of the damn cicadas that crawled under my shirt and was still buzzing around. All right. Let's see. Antoinette, would Ted try and fix the Wizards? Well, theoretically, he tries all the time. I think one of Ted's problems has been too loyal to the wrong people. But he finally kind of got past Ernie and them and Wes and all that stuff. And he has been changing people. Now you just got to hope you get the right people. Sure would be nice if they got the top draft pick. That would help. I mean, this team won 18 games, which is ridiculously bad. And yet you felt like they gave it their best shot. They just weren't good enough. But they have some decent young talent, but they need a stud. They need a stud or two to get this team going. And I don't know. Ted's talking about he's still here trying to buy the Nationals. Ted wants TV content and all. I'm not sure he wants to be the owner of a team like that. Not that he treats it like total business, but I would rather see somebody else get the Nats if they are really sold on there. One of the funny things with Ovi this past week, Ovi scores, the record-breaking goal over Gretzky. Scored another one last night. But Gretzky said, while they're all there doing the ceremony, Gretzky looks at Leonsis and said, when I broke the record, I got a Rolls Royce, meaning you owe Ovi a car. Ted said, hey, I can't do that because of the CBA, but when Ovi retires, I'll take care of him. And it reminded me, Sammy Ball got a car. It wasn't at the end of his career either, but he'd already won a couple of titles. And Everett Bennett Williams gave him a new car. It had 33 on one side and Slinging Sammy on the other. He had it like 3 days and wrecked it. Somebody claimed ran him off the road. Did some serious damage to that car. Hurt Sammy, but he did play the next week. And the amazing part to me was Sammy was driving from Philadelphia down to Northern Virginia for a homecoming game where he was going to crown the homecoming queen at halftime. Can you imagine Jaden Daniels doing something like that now? But they did stuff like that back then. Anyway, Sammy's new car didn't last long. So finally, I always laugh. I was an Eagles fan, ran him off the road. And I said I was a Cowboys fan, but then somebody reminded me this is 15 years before the Cowboys got a team, and I don't care. I still say it's a Cowboys fan. But some DC fan actually paid for the repairs. So anyway, Ovi, if you get a new car, I've heard about Ovi driving really fast late at night on Constitution Avenue past the White House, where not triple digits, but about that. We've heard these stories. Ovi was a little wild in his youth. So hopefully they don't give him one of those. The last Rolls Royce I really got to see was Dion's. And he used to park it right in front door of the park where you can't not supposed to park. It was a cool looking car. I'll give it that. I mean, they have some cool cars at Redskins Park, Commanders Park now. There was one, it looked like an 18-wheeler's cab. And it was a Ford 650. Now, most people drive a 150. It's the only time I've ever seen a 650. It was custom made, I guess, but it was Lauren Landry, and Landry told me he had 400-gallon gas tank on this thing. That back then gas was a couple bucks a gallon. So it'd be like $1,000 almost to gas it up. He had to go call his credit card company and say, "Yeah, it really is me filling up." And with the mileage, he could go almost coast to coast on the one tank of gas. It was a nice looking big thing. Of course, Westbrook had a Lamborghini. What I heard, he used to drive at 60 miles an hour down Redskin Park Road, which was rural back then, in reverse. So they would do stuff like that. Michael one time pulled up next to me at the light. So I revved my engine at him. he took off like it was a space shuttle in that thing. He was over the horizon before I could even get out of the blocks. So, then you got Darrell Green driving a VW Beetle from the 60s. He said he drove it up to Frostburg training camp. Well, Frostburg's up in the mountains. And Darrell said, man, we're just chugging up trying to get up those hills. Wasn't sure he's going to make it. So, most cars today, I've looked around Redskin Park, Commanders Park. The F-150s are really popular, especially among offensive linemen. That's probably the most common car you'll see. You'll see one or two race cars, but not too much. And most of them are just nice vehicles. Now I have to park out in a field and walk in, so I get to see them all when I come by. They don't want to see my 20-year-old SUV. It still runs with almost 300,000 miles. So they can spend their money on vehicles if they want. And most of them do. That's one of the first things they buy. I think Eastern Motors, still has a deal with them. Used to be the coach of the team used a free Cadillac every year. They upgrade them. And one day Spurrier drives up in his Buick. And we start laughing, like, a Buick? You're supposed to be getting a Cadillac. And he just said, hey, Buick's the Cadillac of Florida. All them old people. Now I see Buicks and go, not bad, but I guess I'm one of the old people on there. So anyway, there's car talk with Redskins on there. Let's see, Todd, what's wrong with the Capitals? They're not playing good. Yeah, they peaked early. They're the top seed. I've seen them as the top seed lose in the first round before. It's hard to hit that switch back, You want to get into the teams that win it are the ones rolling into the playoffs, not the ones staggering, even if they're any good. So I'm kind of worried about the Caps, getting out of the first round. Antoinette, with the budget cuts, will DC still remodel Cap One? Yeah, that's all been committed. So I don't see any way around that. What I do see is I don't think DC is going to get the new stadium at RFK. I mean, Congress just cut them $1 billion budget, and they say, oh, don't worry, we're going to get you the money. We're going to take a vote. The House hasn't even touched it. This happened at the end of December when they were making the final deals and the Senate approved it. The House hasn't even touched it. And I don't think they will. And DC's getting ready to start making cuts to handle the $1 billion shortfall they've been handed by the federal government. Well, you got all these problems going on. Meanwhile, tourism, which I can talk about because I'm a tour guide for 15 years in DC. Tourism's going pretty well right now in DC, and that's a lot of money generated. And those tourism dollars are one of the ways they pay for stadiums or all this stuff. And that's why RFK wasn't torn down for a while, because they were going to tear it down in 2020. And then, COVID hit. I didn't do a tour for 18 months, and they didn't have any money to do it. So that's why RFK got delayed so long. Well, now you're asking, a city that's already committed $500 million over to the Caps Wiz. Yeah, they could raise it in a bond, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of opposition against the stadium. Right now, as it stands, I say it goes back to Landover, but that can change. But I think it stays at Landover. And a lot of people, when they found out there really wasn't going to be any tailgating because there's not going to be much parking at the RFK site, you're not getting the whole 170 acres. You're getting a piece of it. People were upset. They want to tailgate and all, and well, then you want Landover. So, I mean, the two sites aren't that far apart. The difference is the metros, the metro at RFK, they're going to have a second one come in. But I would say from the metro station to the stadium, it might take you 10 minutes to walk it on average. And so the new site that they want to put FedEx Field, whatever, on the Great Northwest now is, right now it's almost 20 minutes to walk, I guess. The new site, I think, could be about 12. I mean, it's a little closer. So really, the metro is not a whole lot different in the new place what they expect. We'll see. Steve, at least the Penguins aren't in the playoffs. Yeah, Boston, Pittsburgh, and what was the other one? One of the big ones didn't make it. Steve, Van Horn will be looking at the sites and possible designs. Yeah, I mean, they're still working away on this. But they got to get going. They got to make a decision soon. I'm not sure DC is going to be able to make that decision too. They want to have a decision in hand before the end of the year because then you got to do permitting, and then it's going to take 2-3 years to build this thing, depending upon where it is and all. You put it in DC, I guarantee you, if they do a stadium in DC, there's going to be all these court challenges from community groups, which could make it last another year. So there's a lot of politics, as in everything in DC. Antoinette, I haven't heard Maryland talking about a new stadium. Well, Maryland's got huge financial troubles of their own. This, being a Marylander, I can say that this governor is just blew through like a $5 billion surplus, and now we're in the hole. And we're okay, but now we're not. So that's the depressing news. I mean, I still think we may have a recession coming. I've been through a few in my life. We'll get through this one. Steve, RFK could be a neighborhood with stores. Absolutely. There's a way to do it. To make I don't know if everybody will be happy, but there's a way to do it that would be successful. DC right now, the restaurant scene, they had a poll of restaurant owners in DC that 2 out of 5 said they wouldn't probably make it to the end of the year. They'll be closed. 40% of restaurants in DC thinking they're going to close. Whew. I can tell you quite a few have, because when I walk by ones, I'm like, wait a minute, where's this? I've seen a couple of new ones open too. So it's always stuff changing around there. Let's see. I'm catching up to you. All right. Yeah, small crowd tonight, huh? Wow. All right. I mean, next Monday, we're really going to hit the draft harder. And then the next Monday, we'll talk about what they drafted. And we do have some, starting in May, we have all-season camps on there. So, there's stuff to talk about. This is like the last quiet week. And then we'll do it up to mid-June, and then I'll take a break from the show for a little bit. And in case you've missed it, my third episode of or fourth episode of 52 Questions for God was up yesterday, and you can still see it on the Rick Snider's Washington page. Thank you all who have been watching. They made some great comments. Trying to do something different. We're going to do 52 weeks, one question, and in less than 10 minutes. You can pass the plate and send money in if you like, but we don't really ask for that. And you still have to go to church once in a while. So Easter is this Sunday, so happy Good Friday, everybody, in advance, and happy Easter to everybody. So I won't see you again until afterwards. I don't work Easter and Christmas. 2 days of the year I do not work. Luckily, I've never had to. Work all the other ones, but that one I try not to. So we do more questions. If you have a question, you can always send it, and we'll consider it on there. It's me and a pastor, so it's not just me speaking. I'm asking the question, he's answering it. God, we can't get on the line. Let's see. So Brandon, thank you so much for that, and Todd, you too. So I got 4 grandkids between now 5 and 10, so they're still prime Easter people and Easter bunny people. So we're having some fun with that. Antoinette, still waiting for your review of Marco's. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. And do I like fried hot dogs? Never had one. I am changing my diet more diabetes problems. So I don't think I'll be eating fried hot dogs. And I'll eat pizza here and there. Where was I at? Wegmans. I put up a pizza review last week. Weird looking pesto cheese kind of thing. It tasted okay. It was decent, for Wegmans. They give you a decent slice, but you don't hear the angels sing. Here it is. Mike asked me, how are the blue crabs you got the other day? How much is a dozen mediums? A dozen mediums are $60 more or less around right now. I usually never, ever buy crabs before Memorial Day because they're kind of too small. Life is too short for small crabs. But I don't know. I just felt like it. I was going to see my kids. So I knew everybody would eat them. So I tried. And so they were okay, but they were smallish, but they're okay. Crab season just opened April 1st. So what the heck? I had a couple of dollars in my pocket then. Don't now, but whatever. Steve, fried hot dogs, another darn way. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Could you make a hot dog less healthy for you? Turkey dogs, This is the home of half smokes and stuff. I mean, DC doesn't have much of a unique food scene, but I always thought I used to order half smokes when I would be around the country working, and people go, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's right there on the grill." They go, "Hot dog?" I'm like, "All right, well, whatever." Or sausage. Well, we call them half smokes, which are made from many things that I don't want to know about. So I don't necessarily have to put chili on top of them. You put ketchup. Yeah, I know. Here we go with that fight, huh? I usually put ketchup and mustard on mine. A good hot dog, is awesome. Go to a ball game, get a hot dog out of the vendor if they still do that. Those are always the best. Steve, I would put it on a healthy HD bun. Okay, you have to eat healthy now. Well, yeah, I hate to tell you guys that are younger, but once you turn 40, you got to start changing your diet. And once you get to 60, if you want to see 70, you got to change your diet. And I've been trying to do mine now. Spicy brown mustard, Brandon. Gold mustard. I'm not a brown mustard guy. Grey Poupon, all that junk. I like simple yellow mustard on it. So, yeah. I go to ball games. People tell me, "Oh, I didn't have a good time at the game," and all that. And I'm like, "Why? Were you blocked or something?" They go, "No." My generation basically buys a beer and a hot dog, and we watch the game. Young people are today, they want to do in the event, enhanced experience, as they call it. I don't know if they want to be bat boy for the team or what. Just watch the game. Cheer when you want. Eat a hot dog or two. Where to go for good crab cakes, Antoinette? All right, so Captain Billy's. I fight about this all the time. Captain Billy's, Copes Creek, Maryland, which is basically at the end of Maryland. You take Route 5, which is exit 7 in Maryland. Route 5 goes pretty much to the very end before you hit the Maryland-Virginia border. And Captain Billy's is there. They're open Friday to Sundays right this time of year. They have a lump crab cake, $23. Matter of fact, I took a picture of it, so I'll show it to you. This crab cake would be every bit of $45 in DC. All right, it's huge. It's like a baseball, and it's grilled, broiled. It's not, to fry a crab cake. I want to give you 5 years in prison. You can't fry crab cakes. It's just ridiculous. Broiled in big lumps. And Captain Billy's is the best one I think of in Southern Maryland. I know you guys talk about Virginia, whatever. It's Maryland crabs. And I'm a Marylander. So, and if you go to the crab house, you cannot use your mallet unless you're, 60 or 6, or, you have a physical affirmative problem. Because I hear people just beating on crabs, and I'm thinking, the poor thing's dead already. What are you doing to it? Oof. So don't use your mallet unless you have to. Brandon, see, there you go. Yeah, it is a huge crab cake. It's huge. So I went there the other night to they opened this for the season. It's right on the water and everything too, so you can get really great pictures, especially in the evening if you like to do that. Sit out there they have an outdoor dining area too. Steve, there used to be a place across from Burt's. 50s used to be. Yeah, that is Captain Leonard. Not directly across, but nearby. Captain Leonard's not bad. It's just not on the water. It's just a roadside thing. So if I have my choice, I live about equally between the two. I'll go to the one with the water because you can get some great pictures. But Captain Leonard's is a decent place. Some of them I've been to down there, just they act like sit down, shut up, and we'll get to you. I mean, I went to one. I waited 20 minutes. They wouldn't even give me a menu. They were too busy. So you know what? You don't get my money. Walked out. Thomas had some good ones at T&J Cove in Leonardtown. I haven't been there, but I heard good things about that. Thompson's Corner. Steve said, I mean, you guys know this area better than me. Thompson's Corner, I've had their crabs. They're good on there. We don't have the best of barbecue shacks down here anymore like we used to. I mean, there's Randy's, which is really good in Hughesville. Gives you a lot. I had Randy's for dinner tonight. So that's decent. But these crabs, I mean, the decent sized crabs they take into DC, they sell them for $100 a dozen, which is crazy. I should be a middleman and go make some money off that. Let's see. How am I feeling with the Nats at 6-9? Asked Brandon. Okay, they're doing okay. I mean, the bullpen sucks as we knew it would, and you just wonder why can't you address this? And because the learners don't spend enough. I don't know. You could find better players. Look at Adam Peters. These guys. Why can't they do that in baseball? I'd like to see the Nats seem to have enough hitting. They're still kind of young, but I'd like to think within 2 years. Excuse me. Within 2 years, I think they could be a playoff team at least. Be competitive. Don't make me wince every time I watch you. Answer that. We're going to watch the whole first round of the draft. Well, up through 29, maybe later, by 30, 31, 31. Hopefully, I'm working at that point. It's going to be a long time. I'm not doing a live draft show this year because I talk 4 hours. Not doing that. Brandon, decent barbecue in Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, I've had Kansas City barbecue. I think Memphis is a little better. I like North Carolina barbecue a lot too. My wife comes from a small town in northern Pennsylvania, and they have a big barbecue shack they talk about named Stookies. It's in Nanacoke. And isn't it the greatest barbecue? I eat it there. I go, it's a nice sliced roast beef sandwich. No, it's barbecue. No, it's a sliced roast beef sandwich. It's not barbecue. Gina's and Clinton. I don't remember that, Steve. I mean, John Combs barbecue. I have eaten it, Thomas. It's good. I mean, listen, I've got a new cookbook coming out soon if we're talking about all this. It's been delayed because my graphic designer got sick and had to bail out on me, so I'm getting a new graphic designer. So I lost a few weeks. But Secrets of Caveman Cooking will be out hopefully in like 3 weeks or something like that. And I teach you how to cook outdoors. I used to be a cook and chef on all that. And so, and this book came out 25 years ago. It's being updated. I put in a bunch of new recipes and all that. So, added some seafood options, and this and that. Yeah. Sorry, I got up early. I had grandkids all day too. It's Easter break week, so man, nothing like making you feel old. So anyway, there's cooking there. Charles. Oh, I'm sorry you missed me. Are we drafting or signing a running back? Well, I don't think they'll sign one. They got all 4 back from last year. I could see him drafting one maybe. 3rd round, something like that. Don't see him getting anybody high. Favorite food to cook on the grill? Yeah, I guess we really are bored with Redskins. Okay. Can answer that. Wow, that's good. I like to try different stuff on there. Sure, I'd cook a burger on the grill here and there. I just got a Blackstone too, one of the flat tops. So I'm still messing around with that a little bit. I don't think it cooks the meat any better than a grill. I'm not a smoker guy because I don't have the patience for that. I used to be, but I just want to eat. And smokers, here, we're going to spend 3 days of our life to get this thing. So I probably cook chicken more on the grill than anything, Antoinette. I don't eat a lot of red meat anymore. All part of the newer diet. Have I seen where some people put steaks directly on the coals? That's dumb. Mike, I wouldn't do that. Because then you got ash and all that stuff now. A great few inches away is enough on there. Foxy Fish has some good crowds. Somebody was just telling me, Steve, that somebody bought Foxy Fish, new owners. I didn't know that. So I don't know if it's changed. They had good seafood. I like them fine on there. Among the many things opening, I'm still waiting for Hovermails to open. For those of you around here know that. That's the ice cream place. I've been eating there for 60 plus years. They have hot dogs. I've never eaten one. A friend of mine told me about a restaurant. Say, they quit doing pizza. I'm like, I always ate their barbecue. I never tried their pizza, and I've been eating there since the 60s. A barbecue. If you want a pork barbecue, B&J's in Accokeek, Maryland, which is basically near the Wilson Bridge and about 10 miles off the highway. Roadside place, been there forever. Has the best pork barbecue, coleslaw, and the onion rings. And grab a soda out of the fridge. That's good eating. Randy's is better for like pulled chicken. Thomas, I sued some chuck roast. Ooh, for 72 hours for beef stew. Ooh, man, I bet that was something. Nothing like a good beef stew. 72 hours. Wow. Mike, besides blue crabs and mahi-mahi fish, what other seafood do you like? I'll eat almost anything on that. I did eat mahi-mahi when I was in Hawaii recently, and I thought it was awesome. I tried doing it here. It's okay. I need to work on that better. But, let's see. Oysters, eat those. Different kinds of fish. Whatever, what do you got? It's kind of like that. Mitchell's Corner from South Korea. Well, there you go. What do you think the Commanders do with their first pick? Trade or edge? Trade or take an edge? Well, thanks for watching from South Korea. What time is it there? I think it's probably about, 12, 14 hours ahead of us. So it's morning there. I think their first it just depends. If there's a good edge rusher left, and there could be, I think they could go edge. And then if it's not, I could see him going receiver next. I'm not going to see him trading down, too, if they don't really have the guy they like. Steve, let's see. So, yeah, okay. So he talks about Burt's. Burt's is gone. Yeah. All right, Antoinette. Commander's biggest problem last year was defense. Yeah. Do they draft defensive player first? Well, I don't think they would go linebacker, so it could be a secondary guy. Less likely after his changes. I do think Lattimore certainly could have a good year. I mean, it was a tough year for him last year. He came over here hurt mid-season. You got to learn a new system. You get hurt again. Kind of a lot to ask of a guy. So just throw out this year and let him start fresh and see how he does next year on it. Okay, Mitchell is 9:30 in the morning, but I'm not sure what. I forgot. Let's see, we're halfway through the show, so I should be a whore and ask for money. So if you see the dollar sign down the bottom of the screen, feel free to contribute to Rick so he can eat crabs. And I'll put in my PayPal in case you just want to do that. And PayPal is there if you'd like to just throw something. And Rick would appreciate it because, everybody needs money. And looming recession's coming. I've been tour guiding a lot lately just to grab some cash. Tour guiding pays well. I've been doing it 15 years. So if you're coming to D.C., you can go to my website, ricksniderswashington.com, where all my tour guide stuff is. And I just email me from there, and we'll see what's up. Well, the Wizards get the number one pick. Steve, boy, we'd like that, wouldn't we? They got a 14% chance. So what's that? 7-1, basically. Since when do they get that lucky? Well, John Wall, So I get, I don't expect it. They could pick as low as 6th. So watch, they'll probably come away with the 5th pick. Well, it'd be nice if they could get something decent. So I guess you guys all saw last week's great game, Houston, Florida. Man, that was a good game. I really thought Houston was going to win that. But, hey, give Florida credit, man. They held that defensive stop at the last few seconds. They didn't even get a shot off. That was awesome. Mike, how would you grade Washington off free agency and offseason? I'd probably go B, just like you do. I mean, they got a couple of good guys that's going to help them in Debo and Tunsil. Can't complain there. They traded instead of free agency, but whatever. So I like that. They got some. They re-signed some guys they really wanted. They didn't really lose anybody that you were like, oh no. There's a couple of guys I would wish they had kept, but so I think overall they did well. They didn't get the home run player, but they got solid, good players. So I don't have a problem with it. Steve, you haven't toured DC since 2006. All right. Well, we've done a couple of new things since then. Next year is the 250th anniversary of the United States. So that's going to be a party in this town, 4th of July fireworks and all. I remember the 200th, 50 years ago. We had a great fireworks display. And if nothing else, this president likes to do fireworks big time. Talking about a big parade in the middle of June with tanks tearing up the streets. Who knows what happens there? I'm okay for a parade, but tanks, not if they're going to mess up the streets. You get cost money. It costs a lot of money for roads. It's unbelievable. Antoinette, will you be going to the National Zoo? No. Nah, I've seen the pandas before, and they've got huge lines. It used to be you could park for free at the zoo, just walk on in. Now everything's a big deal. And you got to pay, you got to have timed entry, got to pay to park. I mean, oh my God. And I've seen pandas. So, Meast, well, you know how that goes. Steve, you're around 1776. Yeah, I mean, I was just a cub reporter. I would bother Ben Franklin for quotes. He was great. Jefferson was a jerk. George Washington, you couldn't make out anything he said with those teeth. But yeah, time flies. Mike, how hard is it to become a licensed tour guide? Well, when I did it in 2010, I had to pass 100 questions test from the DC government. Today, they just say, here's how much it costs. You don't do anything to become a DC guide except pay your money. So you take your chances when you're trying to get a guide in town. You look for somebody who's a guild guide. We have a guild in DC. I'm a member. And that's how you know these people have been trained, because now these people do have to pass a test to get into the guild. We just don't let anybody come in. But there's a lot of people, I'm sure, out there who just pay $85 and tell you whatever. I mean, I'll hear guys walk by saying things like, holy moly. Like Washington Monument's about 122 feet up, changes color because they built it in 1848, ran out of money. Things sat there for almost 30 years. And then when we finally said, we got to finish the Washington Monument, couldn't get the same color marble granite anymore from a place up near Baltimore. So it's a little different, and especially if you see it in the direct sun. Some tour guide walking by goes, oh, that was the high water mark of the flood. Dude, if we've had a flood of 122 feet tall, there's nothing left here. That I was just like, what? But I have a rule: never embarrass a tour guide in front of his people. You're just being a jerk. So I don't say anything. I hear things, but maybe they say the same about me. I don't know. I know all the gossip in town. All right. So anyway, did you guys hear that part about donate money? Since nobody did, there's hardly anybody here tonight. That's unusual, but okay. I've noticed the numbers have been down lately. I think it's just everybody's caught up in other things, and there's no real news going on. So I've noticed my numbers have been down a bit. It's just time of year. Or maybe you're starting to hate me, whatever. I'm going to do this. I said I'd do this season again, and I'm going to see where I am. We'll see. I gave up trying to figure it out. On there, I do write for Yard Barker about once a week. So if you go to yardbarker.com, you can see my stuff here and there. You can go to ricksniderswashington.com. That's where my tour guide stories are, and occasionally commander stories and videos, of course, are on YouTube. Instagram, started getting a big Instagram following. Tried Blue Sky, but that's too hard. And of course, Twitter or X, whatever. Let's see. Internet waiting for the draft. Yeah, me too. Are you still doing pizza tours, Alexander? Not unless somebody wants to. I mean, there was such a bad response to it, to be honest, that we didn't. But if you go on tour with me and you want to go eat pizza, afterwards, someplace downtown, like Georgetown or Lincoln Assassination or National Mall, those kind of things. There's pizza places around there that we do. My Instagram name is Rick Snider's Washington, I think. Let me look. Forget. I just started posting on Instagram regularly a couple months ago, and it gets a decent size. So I'm on the wrong one, aren't I? Here, let me go look at the other one. I do stuff on my phone sometimes and forget where I am. I just put up nice pictures as I go along. Let's see. Rick Snider's Washington. Okay, yeah. So it's Rick Snider, SNIDER, and then an S, and then Washington is my Instagram. I kind of just put up different stuff. A lot of times, if I see something cool as I'm walking by, I just take a picture of it and put it up. Different stuff. Christopher, maybe everybody is getting their taxes finished. Man, I feel sorry for if you're just doing your taxes now. I already paid my money. Well, actually, I got $500 back this year. So, but I start Medicare for all of you. A lot of people are about my age that follow me. I start Medicare in July. So Maryland gives you more tax breaks when you're 65, and that money more or less pays for your Medicare, and you kind of call it even. Steve, class of 78. Yeah. Were you in the class of 78? Yellow Jackets, which is Gwen Park, which is the end of PG County, which started going to school there 50 years ago this summer. Whew. Man, the years, they just go by on it. I was thinking of something. I went to the second inaugural banquet reenactment of Abraham Lincoln, and I looked, and it was 14 years ago. Speaking of Lincoln, Lincoln will be shot 160 years ago in about an hour and a half from now. We're on the anniversary. And then he dies at 7:22 in the morning. I do a lot of stuff at Ford's Theater area with this story. So tomorrow morning will be the 160th anniversary of Lincoln's death. So, of course, I'm related to John Wilkes Booth, if you don't know that, and Mary Surratt, different sides of the family. So we're all involved in that. So that's why I give you a unique perspective. Let's see, Thomas, owed 600 between the two. Okay, on your taxes. All right. So, yeah, taxes are crazy sometimes to figure out. But I have my own business, so you have to, or else you're doomed. Steve, is class of 85 is a Hornet? Surrattsville? Surrattsville is where it used to be. Well, now it's called Clinton, but Surrattsville High, from the Surratt family. I'm doing a booth tour this week on Thursday. We're doing a tour down to the Maryland waterfront with a group. Let's see. Hi, Daniel. I hope you're doing well. Mike doesn't think Jacoby and I got along that great. No, I thought Jacoby was a big goof who was a jerk more than anything. I know now he's an old man like me and nicer. But in the locker rooms, him and Bostic, jerks. But that's their right. Go be a jerk. I just don't have to worry about you on there. Nowadays, I do think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, personal things aside. Just like they announced this week that DC might be a John Thompson High School coming. John Thompson hated the media, treated us like dogs. But if you ask me, would I support that? Yeah. Actually, John Thompson was a great coach. What's Georgetown done since he left? Nothing. Just shows you how good a job he did for all that. And he had a very successful life. But that doesn't mean I got to like him. Steve, Mary Surratt. Yep. It's a great museum. Surratt House is in Clinton, Maryland. Costs a few bucks to visit. And you can see the house that when John Wilkes Booth stopped there to get some guns on his way out. Then you can go to Mud House, where he got his broken ankle fixed. Did not break his ankle falling on that stage. That's one of history's, BS things. There's a lot of stuff around Lincoln's death that just weren't true. So that's why you have to come on my tour. Let's see. Brandon, just wanted to say that the Heaven and Hell episodes you did for 52 were very powerful. Well, thank you. We try. We're shooting tomorrow 4 more episodes, including one of them is, if you get married several times, which wife do you end up with in heaven? But we also do a thing about, are you married? And, because the marriage vows till death do you part. Okay, so you're dead. You're in heaven. You're still married? So we talk about stuff like that. We've got we ask questions that people really don't talk about much, but kind of wonder about. So that's all part of the shows. They're short, and we try to just answer the question and get out of there. So no, you can go to church and listen to the preacher talk all for an hour. He gets paid like that. We just answer your question and move on. And I'm with the pastor, so it's not just me giving you my take. He's the professional. Okay, what we got? 17. Okay, what we got? 17 minutes. All right. Steve, you never been married? Well, there's always a woman out there for you. A good wife is your greatest asset in life. Never been divorced, so I wouldn't know about that, how bad things must get. But I've been married 44 years. Married my high school sweetheart. So I'm a lucky person. I admit that. And a great wife is your greatest asset. They keep you from doing dumb stuff. All right, Mojo Daddy, what are the chances we go receiver in round one? I would say very fair. I mean, if it's not a D edge, I could see a receiver there. There will still be a good one there. And there's nothing wrong with getting an extra good receiver. You can't have enough good ones because you can play several at one time. It's like you say, well, you can never have enough good centers. Well, you can only play one, But receivers, you can play three of them. Yep, Eric, the draft's 10 days away. And then we go into camps about 2 weeks after that. And they last till mid-June. About 2 weeks after that. And they last till mid-June. Then everybody gets a break. And then, bam, we're back into 6 months of football again. Goes fast. Steve, have you watched the movie about Mary Surratt played by? Yeah. If that was the Witness one, yeah, it had a lot of inaccuracies as they always do. Brandon, would like you guys to do an episode on repentance. Okay, I think we talk about that at one point. So I'll look it down the list and see what we have. Why, you got something you want to repent over? That's why you hit the $ down below here. Money helps. Antoinette, are you having an Easter egg hunt? Yes. But not with real eggs. They cost too much. Yeah, I've got a big property. So 3+ acres. And there's plenty of places to hide eggs. And I'm sure they'll enjoy it. So, yeah. Families, everything. Rest are strangers. Do you hide money in fake eggs? Yeah, better believe it, Steve. So now the grandson's starting to cut grass, and it cost me $20 to let him cut the back acre. Trying to teach him responsibility. He was cutting grass today for about 20 minutes, and then I see him parked under the one tree over there, and I was like, "What are you doing? Something wrong?" And he goes, "It's hot. I'm tired." Turn the key and get going, boy. This is what I'm doing. Trying to teach you, work hard. My dad would have kicked me in the butt. And he's got a riding mower. I'm not even making him push one. All right. Mike, Joe Gibbs always said he outpunted his coverage when he married his wife, Pat. Yes, wonderful woman. I've met her. Gibbs cars came in second, third, and fourth. Oh, that's sweet. If you're not first, you're last. Yeah. Let's see. Thomas, Dan Snider should? Yeah, okay. Can't laugh at your own jokes, Thomas. It's my job. Greg Lancaster, hello everyone. Any players in the local DMV area that will get picked in the early rounds? I haven't researched that part yet. I guess I'll have to go back. By next, I kind of just wait till near the end and then I cram it in. That's what we do in the media. Steve, brother's got 6 grandkids. Woo! All right. My next door neighbor just had a baby. They got 4 kids. I thought 2 was a lot of work. I can't imagine 4. Ryan, first time viewer. Well, thank you. What do you think the floor is for this team this year? Ooh, the floor. I like that question. 7-10. I think there'll be at least that. Tougher schedule, and you never know how things will go. And there's a million variables, but I think they're at least 7-10. And I think really, I think more likely they're like 10-7. And maybe steal a couple wins like last year. They stole a bunch of wins last year at the end. Antoinette, do I watch DC Defenders games? No. I tried, but the problem is it's minor league football. That I think that league is going to fail after this year. I think it's the last one. And it's just minor league football. I don't want to watch. I'm too used to the NFL to watch this. How about those defenders? They're 3-0. Yeah, there you go. With the new coach, because their regular coach quit a week before the season to go take a college job. I think because they all kind of sense the league's ending, they got to find jobs. So good for them. I noticed their attendance is down. So, and they had some player revolts and people worried. So, Mike, thank you so much. Thought I was going to get shut out tonight. So, the best story with Sonny and I. Man, I used to eat lunch with Sonny every single day in Frostburg for 6 weeks, for 5 years. I mean, that's how I really got to know him, because we'd sit around away from others, and if people approached him, I would have to stop it and tell people, "Hey, Sonny's eating, and he'll be glad to sign when he's done eating." You can imagine he's hot and tired. Sonny was old then, which is, I thought about it. He was probably a little young, about my age now. And I don't want to sign autographs when I'm hot and thirsty anyway. So I used to kind of be his front man like that, and just took care of Sonny. I mean, Sonny was my hero growing up, so that was really cool to be around him. And on Sunday mornings at the team hotel, and sometimes I stayed with them. We paid for our own rooms, but Sonny and Sam and a couple of other guys with the team would just sit around and BS in the lobby and just talk about old football stories. Great stuff that you would pay to go listen to. But we usually kept everybody away, and it was private time. And they would just tell great stories. So Sonny was a big Lombardi guy, and Sam always told the joke about Sonny of like, "Oh, Lombardi, loved Lombardi. It was the only year that Sonny was in shape," and Sonny would always go, he hated when he made that joke, but it was probably true. Antoinette, I think, and of course the Sonny Billy stuff with the bumper stickers. I've told this before, but for those of you who haven't heard it, Sonny and Billy would drive around the Washington Beltway and look for those bumper stickers of "I love Sonny" or "I love Billy," and would say that it said "I love Sonny." Billy would drive right up to it, and give him the finger, and then they'd can you imagine? There's Billy Kilmer, and Sonny would do the same for the opposite. Can you imagine? You're sitting there going, "Sonny's giving me the finger." Sonny Dan Snider used to have his little minions around, his little corporate minions, and guys that were paying to advertise and all, and they would want Sonny to throw them a pass, and Sonny would throw the ball so pinpoint that he would do it where it just come off their fingers, and so he'd make them run around ragged and never let them catch a pass, just to torment them. That was always funny. Todd, thank you so much. I appreciate it. The Caps growing up. Wow. Okay. I think I was like 13 when the Caps came, and didn't know anything about hockey because it's a southern. We're still sort of a southern town. We don't have iced over ponds or anything. I've never been on an ice skating rink or anything. And now I'd break a hip, so I'm sure not going to.